Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Today we are taking a look at a 2022 NFL mock draft for the New England Patriots, a team that I think performed way better than expectations with Mac Jones coming in as a rookie, playing pretty well. I think he showed you that he's capable of winning you guys an AFC championship. That being said, you got to give him some talent around him. He's not a Patrick Mahomes who's going to be able to do it all himself. Not that Pat Mahomes does it all himself. He has some phenomenal weapons too, but considering the weapons Mac Jones was working with, he had a phenomenal rookie season, probably the best rookie that we saw all year. And I think the Patriots got to continue to build around this dude and give him the talent that he needs to be able to carry this offense. Under Bill Belichick, they will always have a solid defense. And let's get this thing going. First round, I'm targeting one of these top wide receivers. I think it's a loaded wide receiver class, but I think it's very top heavy. I think after you get outside the top 6 with Jahan Dotson, I think it gets a little bit more slim pickings. So I think the Patriots should be looking at a wide receiver, preferably somebody who can just separate and get open quickly to give Mac Jones some easy taking a look at some of these some easier throws. They didn't really have that. They go and sign Jonnu Smith. Didn't totally work out his first year, but they also saw some nice things from Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, even Hunter Henry. I think Drake London's the pick here. There's going to be somebody who falls. I'm more of a Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson guy, and I think there's a great chance that one of those two guys falls too. Again, guys that we talk about who can run clean routes and get open quickly. That being said, Drake London's a guy who also creates better separation than people give him credit for. That long speed is a little bit of a concern, but he's an absolute monster at the catch point, will be a phenomenal red zone target. And he's also a top 20 prospect. So, I mean, taking Drake London is not nearly that bad of a pick late in this draft. Picking at 54 now, I mean, the two things I have written down, I mean, Trent Brown, Devin McCourty, Dante Attar, J.C. Jackson are all pending free agents. Might get a few of them back, but I think another thing that I noticed when I'm watching Patriot games is they don't really have a guy outside of Matt Judon who can win in the pass rush. And so that's another thing that you might want to look to get. Maybe an impact at the 3-tech position, somebody like a Logan Hall could be an interesting pick. That being said, there's still some decent cornerbacks on the board. Roger McCreary, I have a first-round grade on. I think he's very good in man coverage. You're seeing a guy like him slip. Like I think in my mind, he's way better than Darian Kendrick. Yeah, he doesn't have the best measurables measured in. Undersized, doesn't have the best length. I think it was like 29 and change arms. That being said, there's you have to put the football first. And when you saw him in man coverage against really good receivers, he was winning a lot. I mean, you look at that Iron Bowl film, John Metchie man coverage following him around, and he was extremely good. I mean, yeah, John Metchie and Bryce Young got the best of him sometimes, but they were the best quarterback wide receiver duo in possibly the country. And so we're going Roger McCreary here. If you don't get J.C. Jackson back, I really hope they do. Roger McCreary is going to be a guy who can come in and give you immediate production from that spot. Guys like Kyler Gordon, maybe a little bit more developmental guys who have the physical traits, but you didn't see a ton of it on the film. Wasn't really tested in the Pac-12 that much. Roger McCreary went up against elite wide receivers for years at Auburn and was very good. I love the ability for a cornerback to be in man coverage and stay in the hip pocket of a receiver. Roger McCreary does that extremely well. He's very competitive. I'm a huge fan of this prospect, more than a lot of other people are. Looking here, I mean, Dante Hightower's on his way out. I think Brian Asamoah could be the pick here. If we didn't get Drake London, if we got somebody like a Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, I think George Pickens could be an interesting look. Boy Mafe has been rising up boards. I don't quite see it as much with Boy Mafe than other people do. So I'll probably pass on him. And I think John Metchie is also a great target here. And bring back the Mac Jones connection. I actually talking myself into that pick a little bit here. Brian Asamoah is obviously extremely impressive too. got Drake London already. We're going to go Brian Asamoah. Dante Hightower is 32 years old, or I think he'll be 32 years old by the time season starts. If you guys sign him back, Brian Asamoah, a little bit undersized, big-time Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah vibes. A little bit undersized, sometimes struggles to kind of stack blocks, take on blocks in the box. That being said, very good in coverage, 33-inch arms. I don't see him having a problem running with any sort of tight ends. Really good in coverage, and he's just a flyer. I mean, he's really fast. He has that sideline to sideline speed that you look for in those modern day NFL linebackers. Man, like this, if John Metchie's like here, like I'm considering a trade up, try to go get a guy that Mac Jones is comfortable with. Again, we talked about guys who can win early. John Metchie's the best in the, we're going to do it. I don't normally do this, but I think this is a great opportunity to go do something like that. So we're going to trade. We're going to send our 126 over, and we'll give up our 209 too. Trade decline. All right, keep the draft going. Maybe John Metchie falls. I mean, this is a dynamite pick if you get him here. Come on. Yeah, he falls. I mean, this is a really, really good pick here. Mac Jones, that's Mac Jones' guy. He's slipping a little bit because of the ACL. I mean, you got to be confident that he'll be back. And now you took a relatively mediocre pass-catching unit, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar, and added two guys who are first-round talents. I mean, two guys who are first-round talents who had injury concerns, but there's no reason to think they're not going to come back strong. Now he's throwing to Drake London, John Metchie probably in the slot, Jacoby Myers. I mean, Kendrick Bourne is solid for y'all too. So there's a lot of promising pass catchers in the backfield here. One other thing I might be looking at to do here, if I'm the Patriots, is looking at like a running back, like a Jaron Ely. I mean, I think James Cook already went. Somebody to maybe, I mean, they're both gone, but somebody to maybe, if you don't get James White back, give you a little of that pass catching ability, smaller back in space. Man, I know we just went with Brian Asamoah, but Leo Chanel seems like a New England. I feel like you should just mock this guy to the Patriots. Heavy hands. Brian Asamoah struggles taking on blocks in the box. Leo Chanel that's his strong suit. I mean, this guy takes on blocks, sheds them, gets in the backfield. Had I think 8.5 sacks this year and 17.5 tackles for loss. I mean, dude lives in the backfield. 6'2", 260 pounds. You have a little worry about the range. Like, can he go sideline to sideline? Can he get to the flat? That being said, you kind of got Brian Asamoah to maybe cover a little bit for that and then stick Leo Chanel in the box. I don't worry about his sideline to sideline speed as much. I thought on the film, like, he was pretty good in space. I think it's a little bit of like the stereotype of like a big, heavy-handed linebacker who can't move. He's just a box linebacker. Like, I think he's better than that. We're going to go get Leo Chanel. I really think the Patriots are going to end up with this guy one way or the other. Seems like a Bill Belichick kind of guy. I mean, this guy is tough as nails. He writes on his bicep, death row. I mean, that you got to love that as a linebacker, eh? Dude, he's just tough as nails. Another guy, Marcus Jones falling that late is another guy that'd be really interesting. How long do I have Damian Harris left? Christian Barmore, that was a dynamite pick. Is Damian Harris a free? Until 2023, so one more year of him. I'm a fan of Ramondre Stevenson, though. I liked him I liked where they got him. I thought that was just a really good pick. He's a guy that's going to run hard. He's bigger body, big lower half. Now you're looking for guys, again, what we talked about round 6, round 7, guys who are going to make your 53-man roster and make an impact for you. I like Zach Van Valkenburg from Iowa. I think he's limited physically, but he was, really, really good at the Big Ten level. Dylan Parham. What's the interior look like? Because I like this guy a lot. Shaq Mason, Michael Leonard. And they're pretty good there. Is there Connor Hayward still on the board? Nope. What's that running back room looking like now? Damian Harris, Ramondre, James White, Brandon Bolden, James White, free agent. Any sleeper wide? I mean, this is like, gotta find somebody who's gonna make an impact. Keep telling myself that, Jay. Find a guy who's gonna come in and possibly make an impact on this team. And I think that guy's Dylan Parham from Memphis. He was like one of the few guys who had good. Connor Hayward, man, he went 2 picks ago. He would be an interesting guy on the Patriots. I mean, Dylan Parham is a guy who's only 6'2", but he's got long arms. He's got 33-inch arms, and you see like guys like Aaron Donald who have the low pad level but have long arms to keep that leverage. Like, it's a good combo. I think he has the ability to just be a really, really good interior offensive lineman. He's not going to be a Q Nelson. Like, the physical traits aren't quite there. That being said, there is something to be said about having a guy who can come in and be a solid football player for you. Dylan Parham from Memphis is going to do that. Had a good Senior Bowl. I like that prospect a lot. I don't think they have a round 7 pick. So we'll take a look at the overall. Looking at some prospects that I like late. Derek King, Kyler Murray, maybe. He's gonzo. All right. Drake London, really good pick. I mean, that was our goal, is getting one of those top 6 wide receivers. We did that, got Drake London. Roger McCreary, a really good cornerback in man coverage in the 2nd round. Brian Asamoah, a guy who I'm not sure is going to be there at round 3. He's kind of a guy who's jumping up boards. John Metchie the 3rd. That was probably my favorite pick of the draft, especially if we don't get Drake London. I like John Metchie as a prospect. Pair him up with Mac Jones, Lil Chanel, and Dylan Parham to round out the draft. I think the biggest miss is like, okay, objective 1, get Mac Jones the help he needs. Get your your 2nd-year quarterback now. Help. You did that. I wish that we addressed maybe the offensive line with Trent Brown leaving, and I wish we addressed the edge, like somebody like a 3 tech who can make an impact getting into the backfield. Somebody like Logan Hall, I think, would be really intriguing there. Perrin Winfrey maybe at 21. Those are guys that I kind of might have had my eye on. That being said, it didn't really work out that way. I think a pretty good haul. I mean, Max Jones immediately gets upgrades at the pass catching unit. I think you get 2 starters year 1 in Brian Asamoah and Roger McCreary on the defensive side of the ball. And then Leo Chanel, I think he could crack a starting lineup with just how good he is against the run. And Dylan Parham, maybe a year, and he'll be ready to roll. He's a guy who could be ready to roll too, year 1, but getting him in round 7 or round 6, I think, is a good get. Let me know how we did in the comment section below. As a Bills fan, I hope I messed it up for y'all. Nah, I'm just kidding. But appreciate you guys always rocking with the Rock Boys. We have a blast putting out these videos, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.